Good afternoon. We start with team news, please. Could you tell us a little bit about Eden Hazard and to what extent he's been able to train with the team this week?
Yeah, he was in the team. He was well prepared by the physios until 2 days ago when he started participating partly in the team. And the last few days, today, yesterday, he was in full commitment with the first team training. So he's available. And that's it.
What's the thought process in your mind about whether you start him or introduce him from the bench? What are the pros and cons of each?
Well, we have to be careful because he has fallen into some injuries recently. To be careful. I'm not sure whether he can play a full 90 minutes yet. So that's we have to consider it in the upcoming hours whether to start or to come in.
Are you a manager who believes that it's best for players when they come back from injury to get a good warm-up and then therefore start the game and come off, or be introduced towards the latter stages?
Well, I don't see on either side a disadvantage. It depends also on the game, on the toughness, the intensity of the game. We'll decide on game day. Speaking
of toughness and intensity, can I ask you about Diego Costa's fitness? What's he been able to do in training this week?
Not much, but he was in yesterday, he was in today, so he will be available as well. Yeah.
Are you aware of the impact that he had for Chelsea in securing the win against Arsenal?
Slightly, not more than that. Because of course I know a bit the past, but I don't want to go into too much because that's the past, and I think there's a new day tomorrow and on Sunday.
What do you know about what he was able to do?
Slightly, which means that not much.
Are you aware of the physical
I haven't seen the
images.
I haven't seen the images where he was suspended by FA later on.
But he played a big impact on the day in getting Chelsea the victory, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to try and draw upon that experience that he had in that game and apply it?
Not in that game, and on the experience of this season, and especially the latest games. Then he was of big worth for us, and I like him to be focused on that. The focus is on where he is good at, and he's doing that. And I said before, I cannot guarantee, because we are not dealing with machines, we are dealing with human beings. But when he is focusing on where he's good at, around the box, then he is of big worth.
If he was able to add that physical impact to the game and maybe bring out reactions from Arsenal's players as he did last time, would that be to Chelsea's advantage this weekend?
Well, I don't think so much in the past what has happened. I think there's a new game, and the boys they have to give from either side, which is done in all the intensity games in England, and that's what we like. And when it's inside what is permitted.
What impact would a victory against Arsenal this weekend have on the positivity around the dressing room, around the club, around the staff, on everybody here?
Yeah, every win. Everyone knew where we were in December. So far we are unbeaten on one hand. On the other hand, we cannot be fully. I'm not fully satisfied with all the results. Being unbeaten means we have to make the next step and not to drop back in inconsistency. One day good, or half a game good, and another way, and the other day less consistent. That's where we have to work at. But I see the players working already many days with a lot of ambition, which is rather normal, but also with confidence. So we hope, and I think we will see another very attractive game on Sunday.
Is this a group of players and a team that will raise itself for a big occasion like this?
Well, that's a nice verb in English, to raise to the occasion, yes.
In terms of the comments last week when you said about the relegation battle being a reality, do you think that sunk in the minds of the players after you said it so publicly, or have they heard that from you before?
No, we don't talk much about that, but if you go and see the statistics, then you're closer to that line then you are closer to the line where you are in Champions League position. That's the fact. And I'm not a person who likes to deny the facts. Doesn't mean that we're looking down, but we have to look up regarding the standard of this club.
Did that reality become a little more uncomfortable with the drop points last week?
Well, we had to drop points, and before the game I said this: Everton, if you let them play, they can play. And in some occasions, when you analyze the goals, we let them have too much freedom of play, and that's why we conceded, especially the last goal, for instance. But I was very happy with the reaction of the team. It was a narrow escape, but it was good to see that the team, in any minute, any second, even in the dying seconds, didn't want to surrender too easily.
Do you think there's still a mentality here that Chelsea and Arsenal are still direct rivals, even though there is that gap between the two teams in the league?
Not at this moment, not in this league. Arsenal is doing very well, and they are making a good battle for the first position. And Chelsea is way down under at this moment, reality.
And just the last one, a weekly update on the transfer question, if I can. Has anything presented itself to the club in the window that it would be seen as a good opportunity? We read about Pato, we read about others.
Yeah, I said last week, the more open the window is, the more my mouth will be shut.
Jonathan.
What will your role be personally in terms of recruitment moving forward? Has it been made clear to you what your role is?
First of all, I'm now in my first task to get the team where we desperately like to be. That's my main job, my main task with my staff and the players. And secondly, when I'm asked for the further future, I will give of course, my ideas. But so far, I'm focused on my first job.
Are you able, though, to identify an individual that you personally would like to work with and present that to the club?
Well, you know, I've been in the club in 2009, and I'm in the club now. And meanwhile, we have been in, not frequently, but in contact. And if I can be of any value, I will help out.
You said it was a narrow escape against Everton. Obviously, 3 goals conceded, 2 goals conceded against West Brom as well, both from outside the box. How has the league's strongest defence become so apparently fragile?
It's not just a matter of let's say easily said, the 4 defenders. In nowadays football, if you don't defend well, whether in midfield or starting up front, then you are caught. You can easily be outplayed by the standard, the tactical and technical quality of the players nowadays. In the early days, you can't be so easily outplayed tactically, but nowadays, yeah, the teams have the ability. If you don't work with a lot of responsibility in your area as a midfielder or a striker, then the defense will become its problems.
So you feel other sides, in a way, have worked you out? I mean, these players have been around at this club for a while now, haven't they?
Yeah, but if you analyse without a lot of emotion, the third goal, it was a deflected corner kick, and it was brought in another time. So and we were more or less paralysed on the second post. We talked about that. We practiced about that. So we must not repeat errors.
People outside the club, including Arsene Wenger the other day, have dismissed the idea that you're in a relegation battle. Is that, in a way, part of your job, to give the players a wake-up call in order to make them realise?
I think they showed recently, and of course we made these errors, but they showed recently that they are well aware, and where they were last year as a champion, you cannot be this year in a battle for relegation.
And is there,
to avoid relegation, better said.
And is there one area of the pitch, Guus, that you are entirely satisfied with right now?
One area?
Yeah.
Well, most of the time the opposite goal. If the ball rolls in, then I'm very happy.
But up the other end, in your half.
Yeah, that's a little bit concerning.
Okay.
And maybe just one final question. Is it a surprise to you personally? I mean, especially considering the number of injuries that Arsenal have had this season, is it a surprise to you they are so far ahead of a club like Chelsea?
Which means that they have a very broad selection and a very good squad of players, not just the first 11. But if you have the players replaced by the players who recently played, and you get the successes and the results what they got, then it's very well thought how to make your selection very strong.
Alison.
Hi. Do you think this fixture highlights just how far Chelsea have fallen? Because they've always had such a good record against Arsenal, but people aren't so convinced this time round that Chelsea will come out victorious.
Yeah, of course, it might be a little bit different than in the past, but I'm convinced that the team tomorrow on Sunday will give it utmost to get the results which have been achieved also in the recent past. But it's a little bit different than in the past, of course.
You say you're in a process of trying to get the best out of the players. How sort of far in do you feel you are in that process? Have you put any kind of time on it for yourself?
When you start, you want to have the results immediately. We had some, let's say, half results. We had results in the FA Cup, but for the rest some half results, and we want full results, although it's difficult in this very strong league this year to have continuously the winning mood, let's say like that. But there is no much of a patience. We cannot say now you can come back in 4 weeks, then we are ready to perform. No, we have to perform now.
You seem to be getting the best out of Diego Costa of late. Is there anything you can say that you've done perhaps that has helped in that?
No, first of all, the player himself must bring the quality, and sometimes you can help out a bit and talk and express the ideas and the way you think to get the best out of the players. But you must, first of all, the players are the most important, but sometimes they need a little bit of help in the right direction.
Have you spoken to him at all about his disciplinary issues, if you like?
No, he's working hard. He's coming here in time, and he have a good treatment. So I don't have any complaints about his discipline.
Because Chelsea have just announced that Ivanovic has signed a new one-year contract. How important is Ivanovic to this team?
Yeah, he's important. He's one of the main characters now in this team. He has developed himself as one of the leading persons. I knew him from my spell in Russia as well, where he played central defender in Moscow. Went to Chelsea after that, and has become one of the key members of the first team and also of the squad.
He's had a difficult season so far. He hasn't shown the same form as he showed last season. Do you think he's coming back into form now?
Yeah, I think he is back to where he once was.
And do you always see him as a right back, or do you think you can see him slotting into central?
He can play easily also in the central defence. Yeah, he can play easily there on both positions.
Okay. Petr Cech's gloves were delivered to Chelsea
So
this
you'll
week.
find out, eh? You'll find out.
Were they tampered with at all?
We tried to. I was here. It was late in the afternoon. I don't know. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I think when Peter showed up.
Wednesday.
Yeah, when Peter showed up here, it was nice. Nice
He
meet.
turned up in person.
Yeah, we had a chat. We had a chat here. Almost everyone was gone already. It was late afternoon, and we knew the gloves were here. We tried to hide them, which he did not accept, and also we tried to make them a little bit slippery, but he discovered that also. So no, they were wrongly sent here, and he was here, and I think it was nice. We gave him back, and so that's the story.
One transfer you might be prepared to talk about is Papy Djilobodji. He moved away from Chelsea this week. Is he going to play for Chelsea again?
I don't know that. I think he is still under contract with Chelsea, but I think those players, it's important that they make minutes, that they play, and especially he's gone to a league which I respect and like very much because it's a very intensively played league in a good club. So it's nice to see that he's starting to play now, and we will follow him closely, of course. And you cannot predict what the near future will be. But it's good to get him experienced.
You've got Manchester United at home following this fixture, so is a point at the Emirates going to be enough for you?
Well, I don't see much of a relation between the two games. It's separate games, but of course we like to get some results in Emirates. But we don't think at this moment yet on Man U in February.
But it is important that you start collating those points, isn't it? Especially considering the situation you've expressed that you're in, towards the bottom.
Yeah, but we are not super concerned. But I like to have a realistic view. Everyone who is in this club, where we came from, where we have improved a bit regarding the difference in points now between the relegation zone and where we are now. But it doesn't mean that we are panicking about that and not looking too far forward. And we want to have in any game a result, regardless what's coming after the first game.
Okay, I think probably we'll do two more questions. Back row, please. Yeah.
What is the situation with Christian Atsu, who has been to Everton and to Bournemouth, but he hardly got any play time? Does the club have a plan for him?
Well, I think the same what is with Papy. Those players who don't have much of an option to be playing regularly in the first 11. I think they must get the experience of playing weekly, and I cannot say much more of this. But of course, I talked with him and give him the advice to see what can be done now in the upcoming time, to see if he can play somewhere. It's not a young player. He's 23, 24. Correct me if I'm wrong. So these guys, they need to play. They need to play. Let's wait what will happen.
And Carrie, last one, please.
Gus, you inflicted Arsenal's heaviest league defeat at the Emirates, 4-1 in 2009. Do you remember much of that?
That's a long time ago. Many things have passed in this club and in football. I remember that. I remember that because, correct me again when I'm wrong, but it was, I think, 3-4 days after we got the equalizing goal of Iniesta in the 92nd, 91st minute of the Champions League semi-finals. The only concern I had at that moment, when we were out of the Champions League by 2 draws, the only concern I had, how will be the reaction? How can this team resurrect itself towards the game in Emirates 3 days or 4 days later? Surprisingly, the team was very resilient. They showed enormous power, mental power in this game, and that's why they got this result. And I respected very much the attitude of the players after the deception of this Wednesday game against Barcelona.
We remember those impassioned scenes after that match against Barcelona. Is that sort of the resilience and the passion that you can maybe get your team to come out with against Arsenal?
Yeah, if this team plays as it is reacted as they did after the 2-3 in the last game, in the Everton game, then the team can play up to its standard.
Petr Cech though has got his gloves now and he is in Arsenal's goal. What difference does he make? How many points could he get in this season?
Well, he's doing very well. We see him, of course, we see him weekly. It's a very good professional, very nice person. But on top of that, he's performing, and I think he is. Even the last game, there were some details where he saved some points. Very strong performance. Very strong performance.
He is a player that your team and yourself know inside out. Can that help you at all?
Well, what shall I say? How can he help us? Yeah,
But in your knowledge,
by having slippery gloves. That's
Okay, thanks for that, guys. Let's turn cameras off and move to written press, please. Thank you.